Mute audio. Okay, good. I think it should be fine. I'll put it out.
Welcome, everyone. We'll start in a minute or two, just trying to make sure that everything is okay from a technical perspective. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 25th annual Beth Abraham dinner. Certainly very different doing it in this way, although I feel like everyone is a lot closer to me than they were in the past. One of the biggest issues I had at the dinner last year was getting everyone in their seats and quiet so that the program could begin. If there's one thing I've learned over 3 months of Zoom, it's how to mute people, whether they have their home phones ringing, or if they need a charger, or if they just decided to unmute themselves when the share begins. I haven't figured out how to change my name on Zoom, but I do know how to mute people. It's a bit unusual having this dinner via Zoom, just like it feels unusual to have the minyanim in our backyard. After we have this program this year, it's going to be hard convincing people to go back to a regular full-length dinner and not just have it virtually every year. I hope it won't be as difficult to convince people to leave their minyanim in their backyards and come back to shul. As we come together tonight, this is really a celebration of you, the greater Beth Abraham community, for the way we have come together during the pandemic to help each other, care for each other, grow together, and ensure the safety and health of our community. I think the pandemic has demonstrated once again the remarkable warmth and friendship of the Beth Abraham community, for which we are fortunate to be a part of. I remember when a request went out right before Pesach for help with shopping for some of our members who are struggling with COVID. There are around 20 responses of people willing to help out within the hour. This was a great demonstration of our community coming together to support one another. Our support of communal organizations like the Discretionary Fund, Bikur Cholim, Tomchei Shabbos, the Anonymous Food Pantry, and even Friends Helping Friends and Neighbors Shopping for Neighbors. A special recognition to Mr. John Smith, who volunteered and helped run the food bank for the greater Bergenfield community out of the VFW Post, to which many of our members contributed. This communal support was demonstrated even with the sensitivity shown with our minyan arrangements, by ensuring that our more vulnerable members have a minyan in their backyards to daven in. This demonstrates a true overarching communal belief in helping our neighbors and being sensitive to their needs. We are fortunate to live in this community and are fortunate to have a good relationship with our non-Jewish neighbors and a good relationship with town, county, and state leadership. We have messages of congratulations and thanks from Mayor Arvin Amatario, Assemblyman Chris Tully, Assemblywoman Lisa Swain, and State Senator Joe Laguna. Please stay tuned for a brief video message.
Ed, take it off mute.
Yes, it shares computer sound.
Ed, when you share your screen, you have to click the button that asks you to share your sound also. Unshare it and then share it again by clicking the button at the bottom.
Hello everyone, this is Mayor Arvin Amatorio. I'm always looking forward to the annual dinner hosted by Beth Abraham Congregation. But I understand that due to the health crisis, we are skipping some of the traditions that we normally do. I hope to see you though on other occasions in the near future. But let me not miss this opportunity to extend my appreciation to all the members of the congregation. On behalf of the Borough of Bergenfield, I express my sincerest thanks for all the things that you are doing for our community, especially during the crisis. Your consistent and valuable support to our food pantry has made an immeasurable impact on the lives of many of our residents. And Beth Abraham Congregation was among the first groups or organizations that responded to the call when we asked for help. I'm also proud to march with many of you, along with the residents of Bergenfield, in solidarity to denounce bias, hatred, and injustices in our society. So to all the members of the congregation, to all the officers, thank you, congratulations. You are a great ally of Bergenfield, and our community is fortunate to have you around. See you all next time. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. This is Assemblyman Chris Tully. I wish we're there together to celebrate the 25th anniversary dinner for Congregation Beth Abraham. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we can't be here together, but I really just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to your leadership. Thank you to the members. Thank you to Congregation Beth Abraham for all you've done for our community during the COVID-19 pandemic. You've helped our friends. You've helped our neighbors. You've donated to the Bourbonfield Food Bank, and really, it's just incredible to see the values and the community and the contribution that have come from each and every one of you. So I really just wanted to say thank you. Have an amazing virtual dinner. I know that I am fighting for you down in Trenton, and please know that my door is always open to each and every one of you. Thank you, and God bless.
Hi, this is Senator Joe Lagana, joining to offer you my sincere congratulations to each of you from Beth Abraham Congregation on 25 years. I wish it were possible for us to celebrate in person, but we are all here together in spirit and blessed to rely on our faith and God's love through this trying time. It's an honor to represent such an amazing community of faith in the state Senate, and I'm grateful for our continued friendship and for everything the congregation has done for people in need. God bless you, please stay safe, and I look forward to joining you someday soon. Thank you.
Hi, Assemblywoman Lisa Swain here from District 38, and I just wanted to give you a big shout out, a thank you, let you know how proud we are in District 38 to have Congregation Beth Abraham in our community. I know that you have been stretched, your rabbi, your dinner committee, everyone in the community in helping everyone during this pandemic. And we just want to say thank you. And I also want to say congratulations on your 25th anniversary. Mazel tov.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michael Whitaker, and I'm the incoming president of Beth Abraham. Firstly, I want to thank Jessica Landa for sharing her husband with the show for the last 2 years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Secondly, I can't even begin to thank Jonathan on behalf of the show and the board of directors for the just tremendous job that he has done over the last 2 years on behalf of the show. I am so thankful that you have agreed to stay on so that the board, so that this way I can tap on your expertise. You have left impossible shoes for me to fill. And finally, to all of you out there, I just want to let you know that if any of you would like to volunteer in any capacity, please let me know. I could use all the help I can get. Thank you.
A tremendous thank you to all of our Rabbanim and their wives for all of your spiritual and practical guidance over these last few months. Rabbi Neuberger and Pesci, Rabbi Cohn and Yafa, Rav Moshe Tzvi and Elisa, you have all gone above and beyond. Thank you. A tremendous thank you to all of our healthcare workers in our shul who risked their own health to take care of those who were sick. And thank you to those who provided medical guidance along the way. I have no doubt that when we look back at the Corona era, you will be a group of people who will forever be thanked and appreciated. Gotta thank Kenny for enhancing our Shabbosim with the treat of the week. And thank you to our #1 hero, Jonathan. Who thought you could possibly be presented with a more challenging, time-consuming period than figuring out the logistics of construction? Over these past few months, you have literally done everything and anything you can think of to help our shul. You were concerned with the continued spiritual needs of our members, and you spent hours coordinating the different shiurim. You were concerned with the physical health of our members, and you were in contact with medical professionals on a regular basis. You were concerned with the financial status of the shul, and therefore we are all here tonight at our modified shul dinner. Jonathan, your commitment to our shul is truly amazing, and I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but we are all counting down to July 1st. But regardless, you should know that your sincere goodness is noticed and appreciated. Thank you.
I'm sorry that anyone let Jessica near a camera, and we'll have to deal with that a different time, I suppose. Thank you. The past year has been an unusually quiet year in Beth Abraham, wouldn't you say? I think it's safe to say that the past year was unusual, to say the least. It's been an exciting one for our shul as our membership continues to grow, as does the extent of our programming. We have enjoyed a year of varied shiurim in our shul, highlighted by 2 main events. The Siyam HaShas weekend with Rabbi Rosner, where the energy in the room and the simcha for those completing Shas those beginning the new cycle, and those just observing was palpable. And the scholar in residence with Rabbi Penner in February with a focus on tefillah, certainly a timely topic for when the world as we knew it would shut down less than a month later. This continues to put our shul at the forefront of adult education as we continue to expand and grow in our avodas Hashem. This growth mindset has come both from initiatives of our members and from our rabbinic leadership, which has enabled us to introduce additional shiurim and programming. We have had increased programming in our youth department as well, with continued growth of the teen minyan, bi-weekly Zoom shiurim and tishes under Corey Fuchs, improvement in our youth minyan and bi-weekly Zoom shiurim under the leadership of Avi Rosalemsky, and continued growth and maturation of our youth department overall under the guidance of Rabbi Yosher and Alana Becker. I would like to thank my executive committee and board of directors for their insight, wisdom, and sensitivity when debating shul matters. We have tackled issues both large and small, and your input was invaluable. A special thank you to outgoing executive committee members Ronnie L. Weinberg, Ronit Wenger, and Simi Friedman, who have completed their service, and Aviva Distenfeld, Uri Jacobs, Tzachi Myers, and Brian Walter, who have completed their terms on the board. I'd like to thank the dinner committee for their assistance and efforts in making this shul dinner a success. Meredith Yeager, Ora Kornbluth, Shira and David Greenberg, Deborah and Dobie Popowitz, Rachel and Yossi Markovitz, and Terry and Yitzi Karasik. Thank you to Eliza Warburg for her work on putting the video together. It was difficult to figure out exactly how to make the shul dinner happen this year, and many decisions were made much later than usual. These individuals really stepped up at the crucial moments to help ensure the success of the dinner. Tonight's event is also a financial success due to the contributions and generosity of our membership. The pandemic has been difficult for all of us, both individually and communally, and that includes the shul. One of the highlights of the dinner is coming together as a shul to share a night with our friends and neighbors. However, that couldn't happen this year. Due to your overall generosity, I'm happy to report that we are close to matching our most recent dinners. That is a tremendous accomplishment, and the shul leadership thanks all of you for contributing so generously to help maintain the shul and allowing it to function at a level at which we are accustomed. Thank you to Kenny Yeager and the entire team at 5 Star for the delicious food and for the delivery. I know of at least one woman who said she is happy to not be in the kitchen cooking tonight. Operating the shul during the pandemic created unusual logistical challenges. Any issue that came up required an additional consideration of how does COVID factor into this? I'm proud to point out how many people came forward to help during this difficult time. From matzah distribution and delivery, both the first matzah order and the second order, to the Shavuos packages, where we ended up having 26 deliverers, to the Sisterhood Cookie Cookbook, and the special guest shiurim and lectures we had during this time. Behind the scenes, and contributing to the smooth and efficient operations of the shul, we owe a tremendous thank you to Claire and Noemi. Countless hours are spent dealing with logistics in the shul, coordinating many events between the different minyanim, making sure interactions between membership and the shul office are as smooth as possible, coordinating usage of the social hall, and ensuring that the needs of membership are taken care of in a timely fashion. During the coronavirus, even more hours were needed to handle the logistics of coordinating different aspects of the shul and hopefully prepping the shul for our eventual return, hopefully soon, and many, many other needs. On a personal note, I owe them a debt of gratitude for ensuring that I address the items I need to address in a timely fashion and that the needs of all members are considered. Thank you for all you do for me and for the shul at large. However, we know that the true leadership, inspiration, and role models of our community are embodied in our 3 Rabbanim and their wives, each modeling in their own unique and humble way, the proper way to live as Torah Jews. It is their presence which has allowed our community to grow and has given us a shem tov both inside and outside of Bergen County. It would be difficult to describe their many, many contributions to the community during this time. They have gone out of their way to maintain a connection to the community, increasing the volume of shiurim to our community via Zoom, the countless hours answering questions, providing chizuk to individuals and the community, counseling, and the list goes on and on. It would not have seemed possible, but during the pandemic, the Rabbanim and their wives have demonstrated an increased devotion and dedication to the community, which is truly remarkable. On behalf of myself and the entire Kehillah, I would like to extend our gratitude to our Rav and Rebbitzin, to Rav Tanchum and Rebbitzin Cohn, and to Rav Moshe Tzvi and Rebbitzin Weinberg for their leadership, guidance, counseling, and for expanding and enhancing our Avodas Hashem. I'm sure that you all can agree that Beth Abraham is unlike many other shuls you have been connected to. The love and admiration for our rabbinic leadership, the sense of closeness and community, despite our Baruch Hashem growing numbers, are just some of the reasons that Beth Abraham is such a special place. Tonight, we will have the opportunity to hear from our Rabbanim with Divrei Torah and Bracha. Our Mashpia, Rav Moshe Tzvi Weinberg, has made a big impact on our Kehillah in a short period of time. His positive, upbeat messages and Divrei Chizuk have provided comfort to many during the quarantine. Rav Moshe Tzvi.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Okay, good evening, everyone. It's so nice to be here virtually with all of you. And it just highlights in such a clear way how special it is to be part of our Kehillah, which I think is very much on everyone's mind. It has been on our mind, continues to be on our mind. And I want to begin just by saying thank you, of course, first and foremost to our Rav and Rebbitzin, to the Neubergers, to thank the Cohns, and to thank Jonathan and Jessica and all of really the shul leadership for helping to navigate us through this really crazy time. I can't tell you how many people, both within the community and even without, from outside of the community, feel this tremendous sense of appreciation for the way that our community operates. And I want to just share a thought in this week's Parsha, which I think highlights that idea exactly. When the spies returned from their spying mission upon Eretz Yisrael, and they reported about the way that they perceived themselves and the way they perceived by others, the Torah tells us, "Vanehi be'einenu kachagavim," that the spies reported, we were in our own eyes like grasshoppers. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu responded to Klal Yisrael, as quoted here in the Medrash. Hashem says to Klal Yisrael, I can forgive you, I'm willing to forgive you for considering yourself small like a grasshopper. But when Klal Yisrael finished the sentence, V'chein hayinu be'eineihem, we were also like grasshoppers in the eyes of others, Hashem says, how can I forgive you for saying such a thing? How do you know how other people viewed you? Maybe you are in their eyes like angels. Why are you describing yourself as nothing more than grasshoppers? And I think there's really two unbelievable messages that are found in this medrash. On the one hand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm willing to forgive you for making yourself small. The fact that Hashem needed to forgive Klal Yisrael means that we had done something wrong, that we had viewed ourselves as small, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects us to be big. And I can't tell you what a sense of pride that I feel, and that I think we all feel, in looking at the way that our community has stepped up big during these last number of months. It's so evident to us, and it's evident to others around us. The way that the Meraglim failed to see themselves in the right way, and the way that they assumed others saw them in the wrong way, we did both of those things right. We have a tremendous sense of pride of how the way that we have operated, and I think that when we hear from other communities and people outside of our community reflecting on the way that we've responded throughout these past 3 months and beyond, it says so much about our community. And we really have stepped up big. All the things that Jonathan had mentioned, whether it's the increased participation in our shiurim, whether it was our pre-Shavuos and Shavuos night learning, whether it was just the care and concern that we had for each other and continue to have for each other. And again, sitting here virtually only highlights how much we miss each other, how much we long to be together. Baruch Hashem, we're getting a taste of it as we return to some of our backyard minyanim. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us to just keep moving forward, to continue to be big in times when it's easy to be small, and to make sure that we see ourselves in the right way. And again, all of this distancing will just continue to increase our appreciation and love that we have for our community and for one another. I'm reminded of a story when Rav Elimelech Lezhensk was traveling one time. He came to a particular town, and he spent some time there, and they were machabed him, they honored him in a great way. And when it was time for him to leave, Rav Elimelech Lezhensk was given a royal entourage to escort him out of the town. And people were traveling, and And he was sitting in this caravan that had been provided for him, this beautiful wagon. And all of a sudden, as they're pulling this wagon, leading the great tzaddik out of town, all of a sudden they notice Rav Elimelech of Lezhensk jumps off the wagon and joins the crowd in pulling the wagon. And people said to him, no, Rav, where are you going? The wagon's for you. And he said, when I saw such a tzibur, when I saw people coming together to give honor to a person like myself in such a way, but I saw the sincerity of the tzibur, and I saw the respect of the tzibur, and I saw the dedication of the tzibur, I said, I don't want to sit in the wagon. I want to jump off and be a part of such a tzibur. And again, that's the feeling that we have in a very strong way, albeit in this very unusual virtual dinner that we're celebrating right now. There's a sense of being a part of an amazing tzibur that we all feel right now. And there's this unbelievable burning desire to get back to coming together as a tzibur. No one wants to sit alone in the wagon anymore. We all want to be able to continue to march through life together. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us. Baruch Hashem. Again, we have a lot to be proud of. We stepped up really big as a community. Again, we don't see ourselves as grasshoppers, but we see ourselves as a community of leaders who really led Klal Yisrael in a certain sense. Other communities look to us to see the tone that we would set. And it's something we should be very proud of. And Amir Hashem, as was alluded to, we're getting closer, halavai, to spending more time together. And Amir Hashem, we should all be zochet to come together back in shul, to be able to daven together, to be able to learn together, to be able, I know it seems like far away until we have a kiddush together, but just to be able to spend time together in each other's homes and to really celebrate the good times and the community that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has blessed us to build. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Jonathan, to share a few words. And now back to you.
Amen. Thank you very much. We will next hear from our assistant Rav Cohen. Rav Cohen has become an integral part of our Kehillah. While he has been available to all, he has cultivated warm relationships with many of our young marrieds, and he and Yafa have been increasingly involved in shidduchim in our community. Rav Cohen?
Jonathan, thank you so much. Rishus Harav, I want to join you and join Moshe Tzvi and open by thanking the people who made tonight possible against all odds, who have thought through creatively about how we could really feel together and how we can continue to build our sense of Achdus and continue to make our shul a viable, stable place. David Greenberg, Yitzi Karasek, Dovi Popowitz, Yossi Markovitz, and of course, Ora and Meredith. Coming together, sort of the theme perhaps the last couple of months, we're both farther and closer at the same time. Some of us have felt that way with the Zoom shiurim. You know, we're all equally far and all equally close. Distance doesn't matter so much, in a strange sort of way. Moshe Tzvi drew our attention to the beginning of the Sedra. I want to take us perhaps for a couple of moments to the end of the Sedra and to a comment, an insight of the Rav that I think has particular resonance for us right now. Shlach ends with the parsha of Tzitzis. We say it every day. The Torah speaks about the two colors that are meant to make up our Tzitzis, the Tchelis and the Lavan, the blue and the white. And the Rav describes with extraordinary poetry what that means. What's the significance for HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling us we're meant to have tzitzis that are a mix of white and blue? White, the Rav points out, speaks to clarity. In Hebrew and Aramaic, they say dvar mechuvarm kesimla, when things are clear, we call them the white, they're clear. Machavarta. The Tchelas, on the other hand, the Gemara Menachos tells us that the Tchelas reminds us of the sea. Sea reminds us of the sky, and the sky gets us thinking about the Kisei HaKavod. The endlessly broad sea, the sky is so far away, the Kisei HaKavod, who can really understand that? And so the Lavan and the Tcheles combine that which we can understand, that which we can get clarity about, and that which is mysterious, that which is beyond us. The Rav speaks about Lavan and Tcheles, about the clear and the mysterious in mitzvahs. There's some aspects of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah that we understand why HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants his avos, and there are things that are Tcheles. there are parts of Jewish history that are lavan, that are clear. And there are parts of Jewish history that are tchelas. And then the Rav writes that in every person's life, there are those times, those years, those months, sometimes those minutes of lavan. There are times when things are clear, times when everything is working, times when everything is resonating, and there are times of tchelas in every single person's life. There are times when they're mysterious, there are times we don't understand what it is Rebbeinu Shalom is doing, what it is that Kadosh Baruch Hu wants of us. And the mitzvah of tzitzis is to take the lavan and the tchelas and to tie them and knot them together into a single mitzvah. And that reminds us that Kadosh Baruch Hu was involved in all the parts of our lives, the lavan and the tchelas, and it's certainly been a lot of tchelas for all of us and for each of us over the last couple of months. Such confusion in different stages, different types of confusion. What's happening? What's going to happen? What should I be doing now? Are we rolling back? Are we not rolling back? What messages is Kadosh Baruch Hu sending us? But I was thinking that, I think of the last couple months in particular, sometimes it's within the tchelas that there's a lot of lavan. Sometimes it's within the mysterious parts of life. If they tell a story about the Noda B'Yehuda, Yehuda was Yecheskel Landa, one of the great minds of Klal Yisrael, one of the great Rabbanim, one of the great insightful Jews of the last 200 years. And he dealt with many unusual Dinei Torah, but probably one of the most unusual of all was when two people come into his office, his rabbinic office in Prague. One is dressed like a successful merchant, the other like a wagon driver. And their intense dispute. What's the issue? So the fellow dressed as a wagon driver points to the merchant and says, I'm him and he's me. I'm a merchant, says the man dressed as a wagon driver. I hired him as my wagon driver to bring me from Leipzig to here to Prague. It's a couple of days journey. One night at knife point, he committed identity theft 150 years ago. He forced me at knife point to change clothes. He made me drive him. And I want justice. He stole everything from me. The Yehuda says, wow, it's quite a claim. He turns to the man dressed as a merchant. He says, what do you have to say for yourself? He says, I don't know what this fellow's talking about. I came to Prague a couple days ago, and this fellow started following me around the streets and claiming that I'm him and he's me. Rabbi, I don't know what's going on. Who's the merchant? The Yehuda goes back and forth, cross-examining. Each one sticks to his story. Yehuda stops and he thinks. He says, Rabbosai, this is a tough question. Tomorrow morning, back here at 9 o'clock in the morning exactly, and I have a solution for you. Okay? They leave. Now Yehuda turns to his gabbai, says, you see those two fellows? When they come tomorrow morning, under no circumstances do you let them into my office. They will wait in the waiting room until I call them in personally. It doesn't matter what happens. I will let them in myself. So they show up the next morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, together with, many different members of the Prague community, all came to benefit from Yehuda's wisdom. One by one, they're called into the office, and the crowd is thinning. These two fellows are still there. And finally, there's no one left. The last person left goes in, and they figure they'll be next. Fellow leaves, and they're not called in. And they're waiting. 9:30 comes, and 10 o'clock comes, and 10:30 comes, and these two fellows are at each other. The tension, you can imagine the tension in the room. They're waiting and waiting. The merchant tries to slip a 20 to the gabbai. We need to get in. He says, we don't operate like that. The Rebbe said he'll call you in when he's ready. The hours go by. It's noontime. They're waiting for 3 hours. And finally, the door between the waiting room and the Rav's study opens just a crack. And they can't see, but they can hear the Rav. They can hear the Noda B'Yehuda. And he's sitting and learning. He's singing a niggin over his Gemara. And they can't believe it. We've been waiting here for hours. And the tension in the room is so thick. And they're here for a good 15, 20 minutes. The Rav is just sitting and learning. And finally, the door swings open. Noda B'Yehuda was a tall man. And he steps in, his body fills the door frame. And they look at him. And he says, will the wagon driver please step forward? And without thinking instinctively, the man dressed as the merchant jumps out of his seat. And Noda B'Yehuda says, I think we solved our problem. Because when people are stressed, we forget our pretenses. We forget all the layers of mirage that we build around ourselves. And when the chips are down and we're really stressed, the real us comes through. In the case of that supposed merchant who was really a wagon driver, the real him came through and it wasn't so pretty. But in our tchelas, in our time of stress, the real us came through, and it is glorious. We have so much to be proud of. The yearning for more learning, the yearning for davening, the appreciating what we don't have, the incredible amount of chesed that we've seen, that Jonathan mentioned, that so many of us have seen, that some of us have seen so much quiet chesed, so many people wanting to help and yearning to connect. It's so extraordinary. In our moment of greatest tchelas, we looked and we saw extraordinary love. In our moment of greatest stress and extended stress and not knowing what's going to be in, and yet look how there's so much to be proud of. There's so much to be proud of, Rabosai, and there's so much to take pride in what has happened and to take strength from that in moving forward. And I want to say in particular, without embarrassing them too much, it's a kavod to work with the Chashuv Rabbanim with whom I have the privilege of associating in the shul. And it's been extraordinarily inspiring to watch Jonathan Landa, the man who does so much with so little credit. And to see someone who could be, as Jessica mentioned before, we thought he was so mustard to the tzibur before all this happened. I cannot begin, if I began to describe Jonathan, would be doubly upset at me for talking about him and for going over my time. But suffice it to say that every need that you could think of, and 2 or 3 times as many that you can't, Jonathan has been there. He has been there for his family, he has been there for his hospital, and between all of that, he has managed to put in at least 35 hours a day, taking care of the shul b'chlal, and so many yichidim every single day b'frat. We have so much to be grateful for, and our gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the best way to express it is to look in the mirror of our tchelas and lavan and see what we have been capable of and expect of ourselves to build upon that forward. Thank you so much.
Rabbi Cohen, thank you very much. It is well known that the crown jewels of our community are the Rav and Rebbitzin. The level of concern and care that they have for the community is truly remarkable. One of the benefits, and perhaps the only benefit of being president, is the opportunity to work closely with them and see up close how they interact with other people and the grace, humility, and humor they bring to all their interactions. It has truly been a privilege to work with them, and I am appreciative for all I have learned from them. Rav Neuberger.
I'm just waiting for somebody to say to unmute the rabbi, because it happens so rarely. I know some of you are nervous, no food, and 3 drushes. There is a discussion in the poskim, and I want to have you rest assured not to worry about this, but whether one has to review all of the missed parshios and all the mislaning. But I have yet to find any sheet that says that we have to make up for all of the missed drushes. Although tonight might seem like we're coming close. Just a few hours ago, I had a long conversation with Ed Abramowitz about how we're going to negotiate some of the changes, the positive changes that will bring our davening and our shul closer and more together. But that took him away from his son Jake. And Jake got a little bit frustrated that his father wasn't as attentive to him as he expected. So Ed explained to Jake, and he said that his father was working with the rabbi to get us back to shul. So Jake said, "Daddy, you can be on the phone all day if that's what it takes to get us back to shul." That which is in our hearts is expressed often by our youngest, and that shows how deep the appreciation is that we have for the tzibur, for the hundreds of people that we bring together this evening to celebrate the shul. We gain a special appreciation of what it means to be a tzibur just a few weeks ago when we were able to have davening together again. Because it's only when you have davening together that you can say a Yehi Shmei Rabbah, that you can say a Baruch Hu, that you can do Devarim Shebekdusha. And that brings home to us that as a tzibur, as a community, we become all the more empowered. How we learn from each other as a tzibur. There are many situations over the course of the last few months that Pesha and I learned from so many of you. We have in the morning, Shabbos, Friday morning, Mark sells our community, sells flowers to our tzibur. In the first week of the unraveling of the tzibur, in the first week of COVID, his parnasa was taken care of. Different individuals are out communicating to each other, figured out that we can order flowers and have them delivered. And he came to me and he said, my entire parnasa of the flowers have been taken care of by your shul. Something I would not have thought of. And the speed of which people came together and thought about the Jew who sells flowers in the lobby of the shul once a week, and that this is part of his parnasa. This speaks volumes about Baruch Hashem, the community of which we are a part of, and how we can learn from each other that the children of our Rabbanim visit people in our shul and visited them at social distance over the course of the months and spent time with them and brought them pictures and engaged them. The Terry and Yitziu saw an opportunity and seized upon it. And I can go on about individuals that we can learn so much from in difficult times and in happy times and good times as well. And that's what it means to be part of a tzibur. The tzibur as a community has grown, not only as individuals. We now have a communal gemach, a free loan fund that comes from individuals stepping forward. But for a community to have a free loan fund means that the community has grown to another level. The Chavetz Chaim saw this as something that defines a community. The Chavetz Chaim saw that lending money was the cardinal chesed, because it remains my money, but in somebody else's hands, and we become partners. And we have a vested interest in being successful together. How that elevates a community to be now considered by the Chavetz Chaim as a more complete tzibur is a gift that is hard to express in words. And this happens because of the dedication of so many individuals, whether it's for this dinner or an Aaron and David and Shira and Yossi and Rachel, Dovi and Deborah, Yitzi and Terry, Kenny, Meredith, and of course, Claire and Noemi offering their stewardship. Or whether it's the undescribable dedication of Jonathan that Jessica so eloquently, and now I understand why they're the only ones who decided to sit separately in tonight's dinner. And to the words of Michael, having large shoes to fill, it's really hard to describe the hours, the availability, the eye for detail, the concern for shalom, the concern for the welfare of the Weinbergs and the Cohns and ourselves. It is really beyond words, but that's where a tzibur such as ours comes together. I want to leave you with an idea. On last Friday, I spoke about the idea of being anchored in Torah, being anchored in mitzvah, being anchored in doing the Ritzon Hashem. And I quoted the pasuk, Lulei Seiroscha Shashuai. Literally means if the Torah would not be one of my sources of great joy. And in order to drive home that it is the anchor of Torah that helps us, that pilots us these difficult times, I went to a story about Rav Shach. But then just a few minutes after I finished the drasha, I opened a sefer that I received of the course of Friday. It is called Shashuei Yaakov. And it's authored by the father of our own Itzi Cohn, Rabbi Yankel Katz, Rabbi Yankel Cohn. Rabbi Yankel Cohn is one of the great Talmidei Chachamim of America, one of the great Masmidim of America, and he should have a refuah shleima and continue to be Marbitz Torah in all the many ways that he has been over the years. And when I opened the sefer, Rabbi Yankel Cohn explains to us that he never intended to write a sefer, but in his illness, he said maybe this is a time when he should, whatever reason, maybe if he writes a sefer and records his Torah over the years, Torah that Reb Chaim Kanievsky has been so impressed with. So maybe a Kadosh Baruch Hu will give him a Yeshua and a Arichos Yomim. And what gave him chizuk is that when he was going for treatments and he was thinking about his Torah thoughts, and those who have met Rabbi Yankel Cohn know that it gives him life. It is his passion. It defines him. And he was able to come to the word with a sense of simcha and joy because he was studying Torah. And the next day, one of the doctors came to him and said that at night she was thinking about this unusual optic, that a person was coming for treatments at Sloan, and he had a spring to his gait, and he had a smile on his face, and he was in a very, very good mood. And that's when he said, I came to appreciate what it means to have the Torah as Shashuai, what it means to have the Torah and mitzvahs as my anchor. The word Shashuai is a strange word.
I know they've been through a lot.
The word Shashuai, we translate in Manahim to mean a toy. But where does the word Shashuai come from? The first time that the word Shashuai comes in Chumash is Vayisha Hashem el Hevel ve'el Minchaso ve'el Kayin ve'el Minchaso lo sha'ah, which means God turned to Hevel and accepted his gift, and that's so aggravated Kayin. Shashuai means to be so turned, so attentive. It's Vayisha twice. It means to be entirely preoccupied. It means to be fascinated. Now we understand why Cain was so upset. It's not because Hashem accepted Hevel's korban. It's because Hashem was fascinated. He was preoccupied with Hevel's Korban. And that's when we say Lule Seiroscha Shashuai, when we know that it's the study of Torah that has been our anchor, when we know that it is the goodness and the kindness that our tzibur has accomplished, the chizuk that our tzibur, that our community offers to each of our families and ourselves, when we know that we had a great measure of comfort having minyanim, and that we know that when we get larger minyanim, we'll be more excited. When we get back into the shul, ein l'shar, the excitement we're going to have. And then when we come back as a tzibur without social distancing, ein l'shar, what it's hard to describe, that excitement that we're looking forward to. That's Lule Seiroscha Shashuai. Because the goodness of our community, the coming together of our community, the davening and the learning is what fascinates us. It is our pastime. It preoccupies us. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu, Be'ez Hashem, should see how meaningful this is to all of us, should see how the tzibur gives each and every one of us strength, how the community expresses that which is so important to us. And Be'ez Hashem, bless our community with continued good health, continued excitement. Bless our leadership, those who have offered leadership to us in the past years, those who will continue to give us leadership, those who will step up to the plate to give us all the great blessings of good health, the great blessings of growth in our avodas Hashem, and the great blessing that we will forever appreciate of coming together as a tzibur in increasing closeness and increasing warmth. And I thank you all for joining us this evening.
Amen. Thank you, Rav Neuberger. Lastly, we'll hear from Ronit Wenger. Both Ronit and Amnon struggled with COVID earlier this year. She and I reviewed the internal tapes of their home while their kids were in charge, and suffice it to say, we didn't think that would be safe to show on Zoom in this setting. In any case, you may know Ronit from her work in Y&J or Masora or with the Shul Youth Department, which she has been coordinating for the last few years. She has desperately wanted to do the announcements in Shul at some point over the last 2 years, so we settled on her speaking at the dinner instead. Ronit?
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to address our whole congregation. It's not the weekly announcements, but it'll do. I know this dinner is not like our conventional shul dinner, but in every situation, especially through the last few months, it's important to look for a silver lining. So for tonight, I'm sure I'm not the only woman feeling thankful that they're not dressed up and in heels late on a Thursday night. So silver lining. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about how my family was affected by the COVID-19 virus. Every person here has been affected in some way, whether it's been someone in their family that was sick, a friend having to take care of a family member that's older or immunocompromised, lost a parnasa, or simply the disruption of your everyday shul routine. Every person here knows how hard this time has been. We've all been trying to stay strong and have bitachon that it will hopefully be over soon, and that there will be some sort of normalcy for our parents, our children, and our whole kehillah. As many of you know, a few days after Purim, my husband Amnon started feeling sick. In less than a day, he could not get out of bed. It was honestly so scary, sort of like an out-of-body experience. In the 20+ years we've been together, I think he took one sick day from work. And suddenly he had high fevers, he could hardly move, breathe, and communicate. I tried to comfort my children and my concerned family for the first few days until I started feeling sick. I also could hardly move, had difficulty breathing, and we really had no idea what was going to happen. The news reports were frightening and everyone seemed scared. That's when this incredible community swooped in to save the day. I don't know another way to say it. The calls, visits, daily check-ins were beyond what I could have imagined. Rabbi Neuberger, Rabbi Cohen, Rabbi Moshe Tzvi, all calling and texting to see if we needed anything. It was a level of support that I'll never forget. I'm sure that they were all dealing with their personal issues and the troubles of the whole community at that time. But they made us the priority to make sure that we were taken care of. Amnon ended up needing to go to the hospital and the support continued and intensified. And I didn't feel alone. I knew that this whole community was davening and saying Tehillim for his refuah. I will always remember one of the many times Rabbi Neuberger called me. I'd slowly been recovering, and I just finished a Zoom with my class with my students, and I was out of breath. And that was the exact moment he called. I could hardly talk. My breathing was labored, and Rabbi Newberger's kindness and support comforted me through the phone, saying that he would daven for us and help us in any way we needed. Less than a day later, I got a text from Pesci saying that she heard I was having difficulty breathing, but that if I needed anything, I should reach out to her through text, and that I should save my breath for my children. The Newbergers were taking care of an entire community, and I'm just in awe of how they were able to do it with such attention and care. The support was not just from the Rebbeim, but from our family, friends, neighbors, and strangers who heard we were sick. Food just showed up at our door. Meals for my family, fresh fruit and vegetables. The list goes on and on. When Amlo and I were really out of it, people started reaching out directly to our children, calling and texting them, knocking on our window to see if we needed anything, or just to remind them that there are people all around them to help. I'm not going to lie, my children were really afraid, and I knew that they will never forget the support they received. I am not even aware of most of what was done to help us during that time, so I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you. I can't start listing everyone who helped us. Like I said before, I'm not even sure I know the half of it, but I must give a shout out to Kenny Yeager, who provided the delicious food for this dinner, well, for this Shabbos. He texted constantly about helping us for Pesach, which I didn't have the strength or the mindset to even think about, but he assured me not to worry about it, that he was there to take care of anything I needed, so that it would be one less thing for me to think about. Preparing the house for Pesach this year was very different from years past. My sole focus was just hoping that Amnon would be home from the hospital in time for the Seder. Dr. Joey Shaskis went above and beyond, as I'm sure all of you know, from house visits to ultimately pushing Amnon to go to the hospital to get the help that he needed to get well. Like I mentioned before, to all of our friends, family, neighbors, and strangers, we will forever be grateful. In the last few months, when Amnon regained his strength, we started taking walks around the neighborhood. I remember when I used to be the popular one. But for the last few months, we cannot walk a block without people literally cheering for Amnon, telling us how they davened for him and said Tehillim for him, people we know and people we don't. The achdus and tefillah from all of you is what Hashem heard to give him a full refuah. We feel so privileged to live here, to be in this community full of love, caring, and togetherness. In this time of true craziness, this Beth Abraham Kehillah has never been stronger. From our Rebbeim, Zoom Shiurim, Tehillim chains, social distance simchas, and now the backyard minyanim, we have persevered through this time. And while we all yearn to be back in shul together, our Beth Abraham family has never been more united. We feel fortunate our children were able to see such kindness and chesed. We hope one day they'll be lucky enough to live in a community as special as this one. Have a good night.
Ronit, thank you very much. Thank you all again for attending and contributing to help make this dinner a success. While the formal part of the program is over, please stay tuned for Digital Dove and the Beth Abraham Kahoot trivia game. If you wish to participate, please have a second device available for use. Dove, it's all yours.
All right, thank you very much, President Landa. President Atara Landa, by the way, in case anybody didn't notice that. President Jonathan Landa, 1 minute. Before we start, everybody, let's give our lay leadership, our rabbinic leadership, and our membership a great big round of applause. Great big round of applause wherever you are. What we have done as a community in the last 4 months has been unbelievable. Everybody give yourselves a great big round of applause. So the first game that I did as Digital Dove, which your kids know me as, was for the Young Israel of New Rochelle. And it's very fitting for me that the last game that I'm doing as Digital Dove basically is for my own shul, Beth Abraham. All right, guys, here's how this is going to work. Everyone get a second device. Second device, meaning what you're watching me on now, is device number one. Second device can be a cell phone. In about 2 seconds, I'm going to share my screen. You're going to go to www.kahoot.it. It will come up on my screen in 1 second. www.kahoot.it. And you're going to put in, it's going to ask you for a code. You're going to put in this game code, 57133 300. 5713300. Put in the code that you should see on my screen. You guys see my screen? Someone give me thumbs up. Thumbs up. You see my screen? Yes? Okay, good. Thank you, Rabbi Cohen. All right. Now, here's what's going to happen. Please name yourselves. Name yourselves. Name yourselves correctly as you come in. Multiple people can play on different devices in one house, meaning watch me on what you're watching me on right now. And if you have 2 or 3 people there, you can all play on different cell phones. Or if you're in the windows, you can play in 2 different rooms if you'd like. All right, everybody, put in your names as you're coming. Once again, Beth Abraham trivia. There's a lot of really, really intense stuff here. I will say I had this reviewed by the review committee, and they didn't know most of the answers. All right. Once again, please enter your code is 5713300, 5713300, and we will get the party started in just a minute. Stay where you are. Let's see how much you know about Beth Abraham. All right, we're almost there. We got 79 players in. Still have 100 and some odd people in. So we're going to wait a little while. Again, multiple people can play in the same house. Multiple people can play in the same house. Just each go on your own device. Oh, so how does this work? So once we actually start the game, your device is going to change to 4 different colors, okay? The question's going to be, for example, how many bones does a shark have? That's not actually going to be the question, but for example, if the question were, how many bones does a shark have? The blue answer would be 0, the red answer would be 5,749, the green answer would be 100, and the yellow answer would be 300. On your device, you're going to tap the color that matches the answer that you want to give. The system will log your answer. Now, folks, the system gives you points based on how quickly you answer correctly. So 2 people in the same house should get a different amount of points per question, depending on how quickly they answer. All right, we're up to 93 people. 93 people, 93 players. Again, if you're having any technical difficulties, wave your hands in front of your camera. If you're having any technical difficulties, wave your hands, or find a local 7-year-old. They'll know how to do it. They also know how to rename themselves in Zoom, turn themselves upside down, put on my face. Oh, and someone's writing on my screen. All right, guys, don't write on my screen, please. Hang on. I got to stop the show for a second. Hang on. Don't write on my screen, please. That must be a 7-year-old. All right, let's not do that. Okay, here we go. Let's try that again. Screen is shared again. We're going to disable attendee notation this time so nobody does that. That usually happens when we're doing a game for the 3rd grade, not for school, but that's okay. All right, moving on. Here we go. We got 95 players. We're going to start. If for some reason you get bumped out, the code will stay at the bottom of the game. You can always come back in and put the code in. All right, are we ready? Yes, somebody give me thumbs up. Okay, thumbs up. President Landa says we're ready. Thank you. Here we go. Question number 1, Beth Abraham, Shul Trivia. Here we go. Question number 1. Answer on your device. Here we go. Question number 1. What year was Congregation Beth Abraham founded? What year was Congregation Beth Abraham founded? Was it 1965, 1967, 1966, or 1968? Again, on your device, you're not going to see the answers. You're going to see the colors. So if you want to write 1965, tap the red triangle. If you want to try 1967, tap the yellow circle. If you want to try 1966, type the blue, whatever that is, diamond. If you want to do 1968, type the green square. Correct answer is 1967. Most of you got that wrong. Rabbi Cohen got it right. Nice job. All right. 1967 is the correct answer. Moving on. Next question. Myers family in first place by a couple of points, 20 some odd points. All right, the points are going to change throughout, guys. 30 questions. Let's see how we do. When did Rabbi Neuberger officially start as a rabbi of Congregation Beth Abraham? CBA means Congregation Beth Abraham for the rest of the game. Right, was it May 1989, April 1989, May 1988, or April 1990? Rabbi Neuberger, I hope you get this one right. And you'll tell us if we got it right. All right, was it May 1989? When did you officially start, not when did you come to the community? When did you officially start as the rabbi is what we're looking for. Correct answer was, is that right, Rabbi Neuberger? April 1990, give me thumbs up if that's right. That is right. Rabbi Neuberger says that is right. Most people got that right, actually. Most people got that right. Bergenfield Breslov into first place. Next question, here we go. Number of membership families in Congregation Beth Abraham. How many membership families do we have? 429, 372, 397, or 403? 429 is red, 372 is yellow, 397 is blue, 403 is green. How many membership families do we have in Congregation Beth Abraham? Correct answer is 372. 372 is the current number. Most people got that wrong. Moving on. Let's see how we're doing. Myers into second place. Next question. How many people fit in the main sanctuary? How many people fit in the main sanctuary? I believe this might be the fire code number. Is it 365, 375, 338, or on Simchas Torah? All of them. What is the correct answer? 356, 375, or 338? I read that backwards. Sorry about that. 356, 375, or 338, or on Simchas Torah, all of them. What is the correct answer? The correct answer, of course, is both 338 and on Simchas Torah, all of them. All right, moving on. Next question. Here we go. Myers moves into first place. How many seats are there in the penalty box? The women's section on the first floor of Beth Abraham in the main sanctuary. How many seats are there actually? 14, 10, 12, or 18? 14, 10, 12, or 18? The penalty box on the first floor, or it's known as the penalty box, really, the women's section on the first floor of the main sanctuary, 14, 10, 12, or 18. How many seats are there? In fact, there are 12. There are 12 seats in the penalty box. Moving on. Next question. Here we go. Gabbai number 1 in second place. Who served as Gabbai Shani when David Gazowski was Gabbai Rishon? Who served as Gabbai Shani when David Gazowski was Gabbai Rishon? Was it Dov Adler, Josh Galenter, Jonathan Schloss, or Ronnie L. Weinberg? Who served as Gabbai Shani? Dov Adler, Josh Galenter, Jonathan Schloss, or Ronnie L. Weinberg? Who served as Gabbai Shani? Correct answer, of course, is Jonathan Schloss served as Gabbai Shani. All right, moving on. Next question. Myra's still in first place. What is the pasuk on the parochas in the main sanctuary? This is a good one. What is the pasuk on the parochas in the main sanctuary? Is it Ashrei Adam Shomei Ali Lishtod Al Gutay Yom Tov Malav Mal Sator Ve'Yira Eitz Chaim Him Machzikim Bo or Piskali Shari Tzedek? Try reading that one fast. All right, yes. Which one is it? Which one is it? Correct answer is, let's see how we do. Nice job. Most people got it wrong by 3. Most people got it wrong, but the correct answer is that first one. I'm not going to try reading it again fast. All right, moving on. Here we go. Wow, Myra's still in first place. Where does that pasuk come from? Which sefer is that pasuk found in? Is it Mishlei, Shir Hashirim, Malachim, or Nehemiah? Where does that pasuk come from? The one on the parochas. Correct answer, of course, is it comes from... Let's see, we got it right. Rabbi, I will be sending you the report of the Kahoot after. No, I'm kidding, I'm not. All right, correct answer is, of course, Mishlei. It comes from Mishlei. Most people got that right. Go, Beth Abraham. Nice job. All right, here we go. Who created the art on the clock in the main sanctuary? Was it Noam Cohen, Morty Rothberg, Tzachi Myers, or Sidney Friedman? Who created the art on the clock in the back of the main sanctuary? It's right there in the back. Noam Cohen, Morty Rothberg, Tzachi Myers, or Sidney Friedman? Who created the art on the beautiful clock? Correct answer is, of course, the one and only Mr. Noam Cohen. Noam Cohen created the art. By the way, Morty Rothberg, some people did think you created that, interestingly enough. All right, moving on. Next question. Who received Chassan Torah this year? Who received Chassan Torah this year? Was it Rav Willard, Rav Schechter, Rav Neuberger, or Rav Cohen? Who received Chassan Torah this year? We're answering nice and quickly to this one. Correct answer is, of course, Rav Schechter. Rav Schechter received Chassan Torah this year. Myers still in first place. Don't worry, he had nothing to do with the creation of these questions. What are the shul office hours on Mondays? What are the shul office hours on Mondays? Who knows? 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., or 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. What are the shul office hours on Mondays we're looking for? On Mondays. Oh, the bow tie has come off. I saw it. I saw the bow tie come off just now. Yes, I'm talking to you. You know who you are. Very nice. It's very nice of you to wear a bow tie, but it's time to take it off. The correct answer was 9:30 a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. 9:30 a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. Moving on, Tzachi Myers with a strong lead in first place. Where did Rabbi Neuberger go to high school? Was it Chat, MTA, TABC, or WITS? Chat, MTA, TABC, or WITS. That means you have to know where Rabbi Neuberger is from and where these schools are from. Chat, MTA, TABC, or WITS. Where did Rabbi Neuberger? Yes, I know you were from there also. I saw the dancing. Yes, you know who I'm talking to. I got you. Yes. Correct. Of course, the answer is Chat, which is, I don't know what it actually stands for, something in Toronto, but I do know that. That I know. Chat in Toronto. Moving on. Next question. Go Landers into second place. Gabbai number 1 bumped down to third. What do Aaron Ross, Ari Morris, and Ari Motechin have in common? Aaron Ross, Ari Morris, and Ari Motechin. They all have something in common. What is it? What do they have in common? The first letter of the last name, they're all with Nidder Yarmulkes, they're all from Staten Island, or they all served as the youth directors of the shul. What do they have in common? First letter of the last name, they all were Nidder Yarmulkes, they're all from Staten Island, or they all served as youth directors of the shul, and Aryeh Morris does not wear a Nidder Yarmulke, last time I checked. Moving on, here we go, next question. Question 14, what was the name of the shul's longtime crossing guard? Shul's longtime crossing guard, who was an integral part of our community, used to come to our dinner. Her son was on her when he came back from Afghanistan. What was her name? Mary Jo Weinman, Mary Ann Wallman, Mary Ann Weinman, or Anne Marie Weinman? What was her name? Again, she was an integral part of our community for many, many, many years. Mary Jo Weinman, Mary Ann Wallman, Mary Ann Weinman, Anne Marie Weinman. What was her name? Of course, the answer is Mary Ann Weinman. Mary Ann Weinman. Great member of the Beth Abraham family. Question 15. Which family held both the Shul and Sisterhood presidency at the same time? Was it the Gelman, Watson, Landa, or Adler family? One family had both the Shul presidency and the Sisterhood presidency at the same time. It basically meant no one was home ever. Which family was it? Gelman, Watson, Landa, or Adler? Which family was it? Of course, the answer is the one and only Landa family. Let's give it up for the Landas, folks. One more time. Let's give it up for the Landas. All right, moving on. Next question. Here we go. Landa's in second place. Got to get Myers out of first. Who gave the post-Hashkama Daf Yomi Shir before Ari Reeder? The post-Hashkama Daf Yomi Shir before Ari Reeder. Who was it? David Markowitz, Simon Wolf, Shimmy Stein, or Larry Farkas? One of those guys actually gave the shir. I didn't say attended the shir. Gave the shir. Who was it? Dave Markowitz, Simon Wolf, Shimmy Stein, or Larry Farkas? One of them gave the shir before Ari Reeder. Who was it? Correct answer, of course, is Mr. Rabbi. I don't know. Simon Wolf. Simon Wolf was the correct answer. Myers in first place. Huge lead. Who created the Simchas Torah Candy Syndicate? Who created the Simchas Torah Candy Syndicate? Was it Saul Lightman, Milton Pfeiffer, Zev Sholoff, or Jerry Friedman? Yeah, you got three dentists and one other guy. Was it Milton Pfeiffer, Saul Lightman, Zevi Sholoff, or Jerry Friedman? Who created the Simchas Torah Candy Syndicate? One of the biggest fundraisers for Beth. I don't know if that actually is true, but it is a good fundraiser. All right, correct answer, of course, is the one and only Grandpa Milton Pfeiffer. Moving on, next question, question 18. On what day does a shul usually have a post-Vasikin shul shir and breakfast? On what day does a shul usually have a post-Vasikin shir and breakfast? Yom Ha'atzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim, Erev Sukkot, or Tu B'Av? Yom Ha'atzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim, Erev Sukkot, or Tu B'Av, a post-Vasikin shir and breakfast? Of course, the answer is boom. Yom Yerushalayim. Yom Yerushalayim. Moving on. Next question. Here we go. Tzachary Myers with a huge insurmountable lead, we think. What is the name of the park across the street from Beth Abraham? The name of the park across the street from Congregation Beth Abraham where we dance on Simchas Torah. Is it John Paul Park, John Powell Park, Paul John Park, or John Paul George and Ringo Park? What is the name of the park across the street from Beth Abraham? John Paul Park, John Powell Park, Paul John Park, or John Paul George and Ringo Park? What is the name of the park? Correct answer is, of course, John Powell Park. John Powell Park. P-A-L-L. Moving on. Next question. Question 20. Who is the Abraham in the shul name? Who is the Abraham in the shul name? It's called Beth Abraham. Is it Ernie Kohlhagen's father? Is it Rav Kook? Is it Avram Avinu? Or is it Ernie Kohlhagen's father-in-law? Who is the Abraham in the shul name? Who is the Abraham in the shul name? Ernie Kohlhagen's father, Rav Kook, Avram Avinu, or Ernie Kohlhagen's father-in-law? Correct answer is, of course, the one and only Ernie Kohlhagen's father. That's right. Ernie Mark Kohlhagen, one of the founding members of our shul. It's named after his father. Landa's back into second place. Mark Watson, Mendel Gottesman, Eli Goddess, Königsberg, all were past presidents of Congregation Beth Abraham, made al Aliyah as soon as their presidency ended, work in technology, or are Kohanim. What is the answer? Were past presidents of Beth Abraham made Aliyah as soon as their presidency ended, or work in technology, or are Kohanim? The correct answer is they all were past presidents of Beth Abraham and all immediately made Aliyah as soon as their presidencies ended. Moving on, next question. Myers still in first place. Landa's coming up behind. Here we go. Whose voice says, "This is a message from Congregation Beth Abraham"? Whose voice says that? Is it Sean Connery, James Earl Jones, Elchanan Dulit, or David Schild? Whose voice says that? This is a message from Congregation Beth Abraham. That's a terrible impression, but you know what I mean. All right, is it Sean Connery, James Earl Jones, Elchanan Dulit, or David Schild? Who says that message? Correct answer, of course, is... by the way, this is the first question that most people got right. The first question. Nice job. Of course, the answer is Elchanan Dulit. Some people did say James Earl Jones, by the way. I like that. All right, moving on. Next question, 23. What is the Shabbos non-Mevorkim Shir? The Shabbos non-Mevorkim Shir, what is that? The women's shir given on Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah, the women's shir given on Shabbat before Pesach, the woman shir given on Shabbat before Yom Kippur, or the woman shir given on Shabbat before Shavuos? Which one is it? Woman shir given on Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah, woman shir given on Shabbat before Pesach, woman shir given on Shabbat before Yom Kippur, or the woman shir given on Shabbat before Shavuos. Which one is it? Of course, it's the woman shir given on the Shabbos right, or Shabbos right before Rosh Hashanah. Moving on, next question. Myers still, Landos are getting there. Gabbai number 1 in 3rd place. What is the official color of the announcement sheets, no matter what color paper they actually are printed on? What is the official color of the announcement sheets, no matter what color they actually are? Is it green, pink, yellow, or blue? Green, pink, yellow, or blue? What is the official color? What is the official color? The official answer, of course.
This answer really confusing.
It's a very confusing question, but everyone knows the answer, of course, is these are called the... See, everyone knows. Oh, actually, most people didn't know. It's the pink sheets. They're the pink sheets. No matter what color they are, they always will be called the pink sheets. Moving on. Next question. It wouldn't be, fun if it wasn't confusing. The rabbi before Rabbi Neuberger was Rabbi Harvey Center. True or false? Rabbi before Rabbi Neuberger was Rabbi Harvey Center. True or false? True or false? Rabbi before Rabbi Neuberger was Rabbi Harvey Center. True or false? Answer true or false. Blue is true. Red is false. Correct answer, of course, is... Let's see. 5 seconds left. Correct answer is true. Rabbi before Rabbi Neuberger was Rabbi Harvey Center. Moving on. Next question. We got a few left. This is it. This is the game. How many Shavuos packages were delivered this year? How many Shavuos packages were delivered this year? 375, 382, 390, or 423? How many Shavuos packages were delivered this year? 375, 382, 390, or 423? How many was it? It was a lot, folks. It was a lot. It was a lot. 375, 382, 390, or 423. Of course, the answer is... 382. 382 Shavuos packages were delivered this year. Next question. What is the song that we sing before Vasikin on Shavuos morning? Before the Vasikin morning, we sing a song right before the Vasikin minyan on Shavuos morning. Is it Odil Akel? Is it Pnei Elbon? Is it Eitz Chaim? Or is it Ani Mamin? Which one is it? Which one is it? Red would be Odil Akel, yellow would be Pnei Elbon, blue would be Eitz Chaim, green would be Ani Mamin. What is the song that is sung right before the Vasikin minyan on Shavuos morning? Of course, let's see how we do with this one. Not bad. Look at that, Rabbi. Now, most of us got it right. Nice job. Odil Akel. Nice job, Beth Abraham. Okay, here we go. Question 28. How many backyard minyanim did we have on the first Shabbos after reopening? How many backyard minyanim were there? 10, 15, 13, or 12? 10, 15, 13, or 12? 10, 15, 13, or 12. How many backyard minyanim were there on the first Shabbos after reopening? Correct answer is actually 13. Most people got that wrong. There were 13 minyanim in Beth Abraham on the Shabbos after reopening. Moving on. Tellers into 4th place. Gabbai number 1 and 3rd. There was 1 year in the last decade where Rabbi Dr. J.J. Schachter did not give the Oshana Rabbah Shir. Who did? And Rabbi J.J. Schachter did not give the Oshana Rabbah Shir in the last 10 years. Who did give it? Rabbi Dr. Ephraim Karnafogel, Rabbi Dr. Ari Berman, Rabbi Yael Ziegler, or Dr. Yael Ziegler, or Rabbi Mark Penner? Again, Rabbi Dr. Ephraim Karnafogel, Rabbi Dr. Ari Berman, Dr. Yael Ziegler, or Rabbi Mark Penner? Who gave the shir when Dr. J.J. Schachter did not give the shir? The correct answer, of course, is... Rabbi Dr. Ephraim Karnafogel. That is who gave the shir that year. All right, 2 questions left, I think. This is the last question, actually. What is unique about Beth Abraham? What is unique about Beth Abraham? We have the most school principals in our congregation. We have the most redheads on the executive board. We're the only shul with a mashpia, or we end Shabbos the latest. What is unique about Beth Abraham? Again, the most school principals in one congregation, the most redheads on the executive board, one shul with mashpia, only shul with a mashpia, or we end Shabbos the latest. The correct answer is all of them. That's right, Beth Abraham. All of those are correct. Let's see how we did. Let's see how we did on our leaderboard. Beth Abraham trivia in 3rd place with 29,144 points. Gabbai number 1. I assume that's Raniel. In 2nd place with 332,604 points, the Landas. And in 1st place with 34,728, the one, the only Tzachi Myers clan. Woohoo! In 4th place, runners-up Tellers. And in 5th place, I think that's Bergenfield Breslovs. All right. Dr. Landa, we take it back to you.
Thank you very much, Dove. Digital Dove or DJ Dove, whichever one you want to be tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone enjoyed. And that's really the end of the night. Thank you very much for your participation. It really, it was a very nice night and very helpful for the shul. So thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
To the whole committee.
Thank you,
Jonathan. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you. Are there
job,
any
great
cookies
job.
on the way
Thank
out?
you.
Good job.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Jeff, where's the cummerbund?
Nice suit, Jonathan.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
I won't stand up.
John, I have a couple of questions for you. Do you have some time for me?
Kenny, you already call me every day.
I want to know if maybe, can I come over tomorrow?
Kenny, you didn't get thanked enough?
Who is that, Ed?
Kenny, you want to know what charcuterie is?
Ah,
What language is it?
Kenny,
I'm not really sure. I think I made it up.
Kenny, there was no kakash in my box.
Oh, boy. Actually, Landa switched it. He said you don't eat it. Too much COVID eating.
No, I told him he's allergic. He's actually.
There's kakash?
Kenny, are there going to be cookies when I walk out of my study?
Actually, no.
Oh.
Careful what you wish for.
I'll take a chance on that one.
A big
Thank
round
you
of
for the
applause to the
wonderful
First
lunch,
Lady for sharing her husband with all of us.
John, I gave you a 7. Not bad.
Thanks. For the outfit, you mean?
Yeah.
Don't stand up, John.
He's the only one dressed.
Is that a new keeper too?
Also, how did you get that backsplash with Svarim? Where does that get? Where do you buy that?
What do you mean? That's a virtual image. I took a picture from the rabbi's study and just put it on.
That's a good one.
The problem is I have to learn like the rabbi does, where he just hits end meeting and then you guys all disappear.
The only reason we came on was for the post-dinner hawk. What are you talking about?
Jonathan, that's the first step is learning how to mute. The second step is learning how to leave.
Exactly.
Maybe the rabbi could figure out how to do that after Mariv on Shabbos.
We need a start meeting, not an end meeting, Kenny.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, it's silly.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Kyle.
Yeah. Forget enough.